Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. So this is gonna be a soul dancer guild. Yes, finally we've made the video. And I don't want to make a long intro. I just want to say, please, if you haven't hit the subscribe icon, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys, and let's get started with the video. So the first thing I'm going to say in this video is I'm not claiming this is the best build. I would never claim that. So this is just me explaining the things I understand as best I can. I hope you guys will understand that and know that you should take this with a grain of salt. There's always room for improvement in every build. So first thing you need to do is be perceptive. Second thing is to use the auto button, but do not stay full auto. I'll repeat, do not stay full auto. Like my friend Rain said, Rain Gaming, she says it's semi-auto. Yeah, that's the way for the soul dancer. Then the final thing you should take note of the soul dancer is when your opponent is on super armor and when you are on super armor. Super armor is this glow that your opponents have or you have, this yellow glow on the body. It usually lasts for 2 seconds, but it can change depending on the player's gears, stats, skills, and many other things. So when a player is on super armor, that's when the player is glowing like this, you cannot stun the player. So without wasting too much time, that is the main part of how to play soul dancer. If you know all these things and you know how to make a great combo, yes, you need to make a combo for your soul dancer. If you know all these things, you'll be able to play the soul dancer perfectly. So let's move on to the stats. The soul dancer has two main stats, which are magic attack and CDR. I agree with this, but where I'll differ with the game is do not put every single thing into your CDR. For a soul dancer, CDR is very important because it enables you perform your skills faster. The only issue with CDR is there is no set CDR that's best for a soul dancer. For those below level 100, if you could have up to 70 or 80,000 CDR, or even if it's just 64,000, that should be enough. If you are below level 120, having I think 100k CDR is pretty much okay for you. You do not need to have so much CDR because it becomes ineffective at a point where if you increase it even further, you do not see the difference in your CDR. So I suggest you go for magic attack. Yes, you should increase your CDR, but keep it to a reasonable extent. Then your physical and magic defense should be as high as you can get them because this works a lot for the soul dancer class. Increase your HP. The soul dancer class has quite a nice HP buff, and you can see my health is 2.28 million. With the assassin, I think I'm 27 million, and with the reaper, I think I'm 25 million. So you can see the differences here. I'm guessing with the blade master, I'll probably be 30 something million or 30 million. So for the soul dancer, health is very important, followed by your attack power and multi-strike. Get those two up, then you can average your CDR and your physical or magic defenses. Get them as high as you can. Make sure your defenses are higher than CDR if you can. That will be very good for your soul dancer because it will make you tanky, and do not reduce your health for the soul dancer. The cores of the soul dancer are, oh my gosh, excuse me. The cores of the soul dancer are simple, really. Stick with this one I have on me: 9 fire, 5 water, and either 2 earth or 2 wind. Okay, for the soul dancer, using constitution is allowed, so you could actually put 2 earth here to increase your defenses, but I use 2 wind because I do not really see the benefit of having just 2 earth. The defenses are not that much, but the HP gain is quite nice, so you can use that depending on your need. Maybe you do not have much health, you could just put in that. So you could use 9 fire, 5 water, and 2 wind. Some use 9 water rather, 5 fire, and 2 wind or 2 earth. Again, it's your choice, but for me, I prefer having 9 fire. As for the allies as a soul dancer, I would suggest you go with allies that increase your CDR percent, or the ones that increase your healing percent, or the ones that increase your damage dealt, right? So now, the best suggestions I will have for these ones would be Anjo. If you don't have Anjo, if you can't get Anjo, you could go with any other ally that increases your CDR, like Captain Luminous here. You see, that's what I'm using, even though it's level 63. This is the ally I used for my soul dancer arena, and man, he's insane. For the passive, it increases your CDR percentage. Now, why I said you should choose an ally that increases your CDR percentage or your CDR is because these allies are key to you spamming your Mark of Azure or your bubble. let me show you quick when I remove Luminous right now and put in someone like Airy. Yeah, that only increases my damage. So for that we'll need the S level talent memory spring, which is this, and we'll need to go to a place without a weather. I don't want the weather to influence me by reducing my speed or anything like that. So let's move on to heavy industry. Alright, and let's give this a go.
Just like the boss's hand, whatever he says goes. It's not easy being me.
See how fast I'm trying to go, but it's not working fast enough. That 1 second delay is kind of insane. Alright, we'll wait for the cooldown because after, yeah, we can do this for another 1 minute. Alright guys, less than 20 seconds on the clock. So let's change this ally back to Luminous and see the difference in spamming Azuri. I hope I changed that right. Alright. Same stuffs. Okay, you can see it's just 2% increase, right? But I can spam Azuri, and that's the secret to it. With what's my CDR? I think 116,000 CDR. Yeah, so to spam the Azuri, you need with that is without having the drag. Let me show you guys it. Right, this is without having endless test, which reduces your CDR by 5%. If you have the endless test drag, you could actually skip having the ally, but you could add it as well to make your CDR more crazy, but it's your choice. You see, this is what I mean by combo. You have to be quite strategic using the Soul Dancer class. Now, this difference was made just by a level 63 tier 2 Luminous, right, who hasn't even unlocked his talent. That's what I mean by having the right ally for you. I do not have enough CDR, but I'm using my Luminous, my ally, to cover up for it. Next ally I'll suggest would be for those who want more healing. If you want more healing, you actually go for the actual Mai. I've explained this in my video which talks about understanding allies. So Mai boosts your healing, and Police Mai as well also boosts your healing, but the actual Mai boosts your healing by 30%, while the Police Mai is only 20% healing increase. So it's your choice again. If you want more damage, you can go for any of the Airy. I'd advise any of the Airy for your main. They'll give you an insane damage boost. So let's move on to the skills, and before I talk too much about any other thing, that's the talents and all those other stuff, I have to explain each of the skills for those players who do not understand the Soul Dancer class at all. Some might have even been saying, what's Azuri, what am I throwing around, is it that crazy thing that I hate? Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about the skills. Soul Dancer, you have 2 skill sets. The first, which is the one at the right, all these ones, and the second, which are all these ones. And this is a Soul Dancer's pack, which links you to your teammates and gives you guys a boost, right? So immediately you do these packs, you already get a damage decrease of 10%. So that's one thing we should get out of the way. Next, let's start with starting from this one, right? That's time expansion. So that will be this. It's a buffing skill. There's no damage for it. You can just read it and see the buff it gives to you. Then you have Azuri, which is the Soul Dancer's highest damage dealer. Azuri Mark is the skill which I just spammed, right? But the only issue with Azuri is it's a continuous damage dealing skill. It doesn't deal this entire damage at once. It keeps on piling up for a couple seconds. If you can see, there are 8 seconds, right? So you need to keep your target on that mark for 8 seconds for it to deal the total damage. Next will be Face Shock. Face Shock is pretty crazy one. It throws your Gemini at the opponent and deals damage to them while increasing their damage received. So it's very important to use this properly. And you have your Ice Glare Shock, which deals damage to your opponent and also heals you a little bit, and it decreases magic damage by 5%, right? So that's done. It's the third highest damage dealer. So the first is Azuri, The second will be this one. The third will be Ice Glare Shock. The first thing you have there is your Shadowy Light. This enables your Gemini, that's your clone, to copy any of the 3 skills. And by this, let me just throw him out here so you can see him over there, right? So that's my Gemini, my clone. So when you perform Shadowy Light, it links your two together. Any of these 3 skills you perform, your Gemini will copy it. If it's this, you will do it as well. Alright? So if you go over, yeah, it's not showing. Let me just quickly do that again. And throw him over there. Alright. Any skill you perform, here we do it. And that's it. Then the third skill there is your time lock skill, which is the bubble I just did with my Gemini. It can twist space and freeze your opponent for I think 3 seconds or so. It freeze your opponent and deals a lot of damage to your opponent. But if you keep performing this skill over and over again, or this one, it's gonna, the effectiveness of the time that was spent there is gonna be reduced. Finally is Witch's Kiss. Witch's Kiss doesn't deal any damage at all, it just turns your opponents to duck. That's this one over here. I need a target to use it, but when you press it, you're gonna hear a squishy duck sound, like a rubber duck sound. Yeah, and that's the bane of every class. I think even Blade Masters hate this Q as long as they are not on super armor. Remember, hope you remember super armor, right? So keep track. I would suggest a soul dancer should always start with time expansion, but everyone has their own tactic. This is just my own thoughts, right? Then I think I have to show this or I'm gonna get killed by Rain Gaming. So this is my plan. For the combat setting, I put Shadowy Light as the #1 skill. That's important because when I put on my auto and I want to do my spamming, I need this to enable my Gemini copy my other skills. With this, once I'm busy performing my other things, auto is helping me by clicking on this skill for me, because to switch to the other skill fast within 20 seconds, it's not easy. Next is Phase Shock and Bubble and Ice Glare Shock. These are the main things I need my auto to copy for me. I can do every other thing myself, and sometimes I need it to do the time expansion, but I am always mindful of this, so I just put it as the 5th. These are the other things, these are the main things I need my auto to copy for me. For the others, which is the Zurimark, Witch's Kiss and Recall Light, I perform them myself. When I wanted to build this soul dancer, my head was really really about to explode. I was about to even make a 4th skill because I needed one for team PvE and team PvP and stuff, but I was like, screw it, I'll make a hybrid build, right? So I have 3 builds here: the PvE, the singles and team. But PvE, this is just pure damage, right? With time expansion to help with your spamming of Azuri if you want to use that. Falling Glacier to reduce the cooldown time, that's the A-level talent, to reduce the cooldown time of my #1 skill, which is this one I showed you guys, this, right? So I think it's better I use this, which is this. Then Dance with Swans, it enables you to deal more damage with your 2nd skill when you throw your 3rd skill. That's this. When you throw this skill, as long as you are on it, when you perform this, it's gonna deal 30% increased damage. Next is the Deep Talent. You just get your Might of Doppelganger to increase your Gemini's additional damage. Get this and this. You do not bother with all the other ones. Then for the other side, you go for Time Control, Sublimation and Deep Freeze. I know time control is not that useful against monsters, but I unlocked all these just to get to this Deep Freeze to increase your Spirit Dancer's Ice Glare Shock damage by 20%. Then for the green part, you increase your HP, of course. This one all to get to this Power of Space. Then for the left side, you go for your CDR, which is a given, and you increase your water attack, this one, and you come over here, Demon Claw, just to get to this Phase Assault. Let's say for level 130s, if you want to, I'll suggest you go for this one. Before you choose your build for singles, you have to decide, do you want to be a DPS, do you want to be a hybrid, or do you want to be a healer or tank rather. If you want to be a DPS, you're gonna change a lot of time to either Falling Glacier or Stopped Pendulum, right? This will increase the damage you deal to opponents when they are in your bubble. Then this will help you perform your #1 skill faster and increase the chance of you freezing your opponent after the 5th time of you performing your #1 skill. So if you want to be a DPS, any one of these I'll suggest, or you switch this. If you want to be a healer, You're gonna keep this like this, and you remove barley in the snow to put in this sand of time, so you can gain the healing from, where is it, from your number one. So you're beginning of 51,000 health with my magic attack right now. Every time I perform my number one skill, which is a 3-second cooldown skill, I gain a little health from it with this setup. With this, the damage dealt to me every time I perform my bubble skill will be reduced by 30% for 8 seconds. But that's for your healing build. That's for the healing or tank build. This is the build I'm using. And for S level talent, you keep Holy Fist. When you perform your healing, you remove debuff on yourself. That's this healing. It can remove debuffs from things like burn, slow, even the assassins debuff they put on you when they're switching to their shadow form. It can negate it to some extent. It is limited, but it can negate it to some extent. This singles talent is for PvP. With all my switching of the other talents, the S talents, the C talents, I did not switch my B level talent. I left it at Lord of Time. Why I left this at Lord of Time is, let's use the bubble skill first, right? So my bubble skill, that's 23 seconds cooldown. When you use this skill, which is time expansion, and perform that same bubble, see, I actually got 8 seconds reduced from it. So this is going to be useful for me because I mainly focus on spamming bubble, not Azurio. Now that's another thing you have to keep in mind when choosing your talents. Do you want to spam Azurio? Do you want to spam bubble? Do you want to spam both? If you want to do that, use Law of Time. If you want to spam bubble, use Law of Time. If you do not want to spam bubble, do not use Law of Time. But if you want to spam bubble and do not want to use Law of Time, you will have to use Vortex. That's this EX over here. You have to use your Vortex here, the Vortex EX, because that will enable you, that will reduce the cooldown of this cube. Not as much as Law of Time, but it will help. For the deep talents, you use the same here. You go for this. Just keep increasing all this. I do not want to make this video longer, so I won't talk too much. You increase weak. Then you increase this time control to stop their skills or ES cooldown, and you just go for all this. For the green or middle part, you increase the essence, increase study, stop at that point, do not go further. You go for drive, and you have this. If you are level 130, I'd suggest you go for residual light. For the left side, you go for all this, increase your Azuri trigger rate, and Phase Assault. And you stop here. But if you actually want to go for the healing build, I'd suggest you go further and unlock this one. For the team build, this is both for team PvP and team PvE, things like Dragon Breath, Clash of Swords and others. This is mainly focusing on buffing your opponent, not dealing a lot of damage. What you need for a C-level talent is Sand of Time. With this, you'll be able to gain health still with your number one skill, and it will increase your critical rates. Then for the B-level talent, you have Logi's Trick. You could actually switch this if you want to, but what this does basically is when you perform your skill to change your opponent into dogs, that's this skill, it's gonna target one extra player. And if you do have shadowy light on when you target it, your Gemini as well is gonna do it. So instead of just one target with Logi's Kiss, with Logi's Trick rather, you're gonna have 2 to 3 opponents turned to dogs, and their physical magic defense reduced by 10%. But if you do not want to use that, I'll suggest you switch that into this. Yes, this is going to be helpful for you. It's going to help you spam your bubble more, which is going to be more annoying. Like I said, this is not for damage dealing, this is mainly for buffing your opponents, right? So this is going to help you better. Then for the A-level talents, I suggest you go for this. Just keep this there. It's going to be helpful for you to survive longer. It's going to make you more tanky. Your damage received is going to be reduced. So helpful, like I said, helpful. If you put that together with this, you're gonna be tanky for a lot longer than normal. Then for the S level talents, Twins Edge, this one is gonna, when you have a pact, that's when you use your pact skill, that is this one over here, and you connect to your teammates. Remember, this is a team build, so you have to connect to your teammates. If you connect to your teammate, this is gonna buff you and your teammates by giving you guys a couple other buffs. That is movement speed increase, critical resistance, CDR. So this is for team. But this talent for the team build,
It's ingrained in my head, and I start to think, honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Honey, I'm a
That's it. This is for single PvE. This is for duels and maybe battlegrounds. If you do not want to rely on packing yourself with a teammate, you focus mainly on just going around doing your thing. Use this for battlegrounds. When it comes to main EX, I personally favor Light Beacon because with this you gain super armor, or if you're already in being controlled, it frees you from the control of the enemies, heals you continuously for a couple seconds, and gives you a damage reduction and speed boost for 10 seconds. For everything, I use Light Beacon for everything. PvP, PvE, whatever, I use Light Beacon for everything. For the other EX, there are a couple EX I suggest for the Soul Dancers. It depends on your playstyle. Like I showed earlier, I showed the importance of Vortex for spamming Azuri if you want to spam Azuri. So first EX I suggest would be Vortex for those who want to spam Azuriel and have their reasons for using it for other things. But your Vortex has to be, I think, at a certain level. I don't know if it's level 5 or so, for you to be able to unlock the cooldown reduction effect. You use the Drac Whispers of the Ancient God. It's a ring draconic. It boosts your EX by, I think, +2. That's it. So it helps you unlock those things a lot faster. So that's Vortex. For the second EX, I'll suggest Holy Judgment. This will help you remove the super armor on your opponent and enable you to stun them while dealing damage and reducing their defenses and other stuff. Then the next one I'll suggest will be Minefield. It can remove the super armor of your opponent while dealing damage and stunning, and it decreases the damage you deal for a couple seconds while the opponents are in the zone. So this is my personal favorite, but I usually switch between this and Holy Judgment, but it's your choice as well. And the final skill EX I would suggest for Soul Dancers will be Royal Fire. I think you should wait till you have your Royal Fire at, is it tier 5 or 6? I do not know. Well, as long as it has unlocked this ability of super armor, right? So every time you activate Royal Fire, you gain super armor for a couple seconds. You see, I'm already glowing. So that is very important for you. If you do not want to keep dashing or all those kind of stuff to gain super armor, Royal Fire is your guy. It has the super armor on you, and you won't be able to be controlled by Blade Masters or all those other classes. So, and it also reduces their physical and magic defenses by, I think, 20%. And the best part is it's just 45 seconds cooldown. I think when you upgrade it at level 41, it has a 10% chance to trigger Scorch every time it burns your opponent. That's this EX. But for now, I do not have it there, so my personal favorite is Minefield and Holy Judgment. For now, I don't know when that ability of using Scorch as well is unlocked. I'll probably go and try out Royal Fire. So that'll be it for the EX. So like I said, use either Vortex, but be careful with Vortex, because once the Vortex is destroyed, you are stuck with an awkward situation of not being able to spam the skill you wanted to spam, and you just wasted an EX spot. Yeah. Then I think I should show you why I use Law of Time in singles instead of any of this, right? Because with Law of Time, you do not need Vortex. You see, I'm going to remove Vortex. You don't need Vortex to spam Bubble. So you could put in another EX, right? So let me explain. Let me show it real quick. You see, the 8 seconds is given to me, is helping me spam this. So each time I spam time bubble, that's bubble, my time stop skill, I gain 8 seconds reduction on it. And each time I spam it, it reduces the cooldown on Shadowy Light. And each time I use Shadowy Light and spam this again, both of them's cooldown will be reduced. So it's almost an infinite loop. For 20 seconds, I can keep spamming as long as time expansion is active, right? So that's why I use that's why I use it. Removing Law of Time, you're gonna be unable to spam your bubble skill as well as I just did, unless you use Vortex. So either use Vortex, Minefield, Holy Judgment, or Royal Fire. Those are the 4 EX I'll suggest for the Soul Dancers class. For the Dragonblood, I don't think it's actually any best. It's kind of on your playstyle and the combination. Lord of the Sky and Wind, Norton, or Leviathan. Those are the dragons I think are best for Soul Dancers. For gears, and this is the final part, For the gears, let's go to sets. I'll suggest 6 friggers and 4 krakens. Six figures, because of the 6 pieces set. This is one set I would suggest for every player. I think for level 130 it's Venom, so this will help you continuously freeze your opponent. It's just based on CC. The Soul Dancer class is based on stunning, because you cannot damage players like the Gunslinger or the Assassin or even the Blade Masters. To be told, truth be told, you can't damage those players when they focus on DPS. So you have to stop them from attacking, and this will help you. And once you are being given that little strike, you can perform Recall Light, which is your healing skill, which is this one. You can perform this one and start gaining health again. And if your memory spring is on cooldown, that's even perfect. You can perform it again and start gaining more health, right? So that's a very good combo. If you do not want this, you could actually go 6 figures and 4 suitors. That's focused more on support, because I think it's going to be buffing you and your teammates. But if you do not want to use that as well, you could go 6 Krakens and either 4 friggers or 4 suitors. But I do not favor this one that much, because the freezing effect of frigger isn't there. But who knows, it could be great as well, because at 6 pieces free Krakens, you gain the effect of, after taking a Feather Strike, you gain a shield, which is going to be quite helpful. And it can also freeze opponents, so it's kind of like having a frigger in a way, I guess, but your health has to be insanely low for it to activate. So that will be it for the sets. So for 7 scenes, it's based on your desire, it's based on your needs, honestly. You could use Wrath. Immediately after stunning your opponents, you could use Wrath to deal damage to them and increase your damage. You can use Fields. You could even use Pride, or what's the name? Greed, if it's against players, or if it's against another Soul Dancer, or what's the name? Phantom Sound. So it's your choice really, but for me, I'll stick with Field, since I'm free to play and I do not have enough iron to spare on other ones, so I focus mainly on Field. And it's going to be quite useful, because you have players running away from you when you throw your Mark of Azurio. So what you could do is just teleport to your opponents and drop out the mark, teleport to them using the Fuse, drop the Mark of Azurio, and watch them run away and bleed themselves, especially when you are using the Memory Spring and the other one, right? You could just use the Vortex on them. As they're running away from you, they just keep on receiving the damage. So that's just it. So that'll be it for the video, guys. Oh my gosh, I hope this is not a really long one, and I hope I explained things well. To end this, I would suggest you make your own combo, your own DPS combo, preferably one that goes well with your bots. That's your Memory Spring. This one, for that for that 20 seconds that you're able to spam your skills, make a perfect combo to fit your playstyle, or make one to wear your opponents down by either healing or wearing them down, right? So it's your choice really. Do you want to be an insane DPS? Do you want to be a stunner or whatever, or do you want to be both? It's all your choice, and that's the best part of the Soul Dancer. It's so complicated, but it's so fascinating. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide video. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.